Hi, I'm Jeremy and I wanted to make hopefully a quick video about this video that I came across. It's older, it's from 2019. The title of the video is How Denmark Took a Hard Line on Immigrants, Foreign Correspondent. This is with ABC News in depth, and it's not in depth at all. This whole thing is just stupid. But I wanted to focus on this little bit right here where this guy's interviewing this family that came from Persia, from Iran, I believe. Iran or Iraq. I've never gotten the two separated. I mean, I understand the history more than I do. One of them is Ayatollah Khomeini, and he took over. I think he ousted the royalty there. They came over to the U.S., and that's whenever they made a major change because he was a religious zealot. I don't know if he's still alive or not. And he brought about all these sweeping changes. And if you look at pictures before then, kind of looked like America. They were kind of wearing the same things, kind of doing the same things. And then he took over, and that's whenever you see all of this wearing the burqas and this radical change. And whenever this happened, a lot of people did flee, and it sounds like that this family might have been one of them. And then and I don't know if that's Iran or Iraq, but the other country is Saddam Hussein, and he's just as they're both violent, insane people. Anyways, Denmark's taking in all of these immigrants, and now violence is becoming an issue over there, and they want them gone. And it's because I don't ever hear the stuff that really matters. It's just constant feelings. I do not care what you feel. Your feelings do not equate into this. It's, well, what gets you to the results that you were looking for? And so the results that they want is, I want to live in peace. I don't want to be killed. We're going to listen to this, and I'm just tired of the lies and the manipulation and the laziness and just all the stupidity. This guy's an idiot. He doesn't ask any questions at all. It's like something that you would hear if you were going to a psychologist. Well, how does that make you... If you two are tired of the lies and the nonsense and the manipulation of feelings instead of really getting to the root of the matter, then give the video a like, a thumbs up, subscribe, become a member, because I'm tired of this. It's just constant lying, intentional or not, I don't care. It's just lies.
From Iran were pretty much pioneers.
Iran, so since this is about the time, then it's Iran that had Ayatollah Khomeini who did all this stuff. So
Don't hear the cyclists. So where are we going today, Ellie?
We are going to see my mom.
Your mum?
My mom.
Okay, tell me about your mum.
My mom is the coolest woman in the world.
you do not know that. I do not care about your feelings. Tell me about her actions and what she's done.
Right.
My mom is Persian, of course.
Yeah.
And she's one of the strongest women I know.
I do not care. As far as I know, you only know one woman in your life. I have no idea. Maybe you know 1,000 women, but maybe she's the only one that you know in depth. And it didn't sound like that you even know your mom because you could only say 2 or 3 things about her. So this is her mom with her.
Ellie's mum, Etty, arrived here when she was 28. She started from scratch, building a new life.
I do not care. That has absolutely nothing to do with her. That has to do with Denmark, with their rules and their policies allowing her to do this stuff. Because if she was still living back in Iran, she couldn't do this stuff because of the way that they have their system. This is not her. This is Denmark that allowed this stuff. And this is just a case for capitalism. That whenever you have capitalism and you allow free trade and you allow people to do whatever it is that they can figure out, you find that people blossom.
with her young.
But you're not going to hear this in any of this. They're not going to talk about how capitalism was able to elevate her life.
family.
So this is it.
Yeah, we are make it for 100 person for tomorrow.
100 people
100 people.
turning up.
So they've set this up for over 100 people turning up tomorrow.
Yeah.
She's a wedding planner now, a business she started 18 years ago. It was one of the first catering for Muslims.
One of the first catering for Muslim. I don't understand this. She left a country that had Muslims and Sharia law and all this other stuff, and she left it because it was trash. And then what's the first thing that she does whenever she gets to Denmark? Let's be Muslims. Let's do this. Let's not integrate. Let's not try to understand maybe the differences that have led to this peaceful place. Let's not do that. Let's continue to do what we've done. Because that's not what you're going to hear. You're not going to hear anything about how she tried to change. Because it's like maybe Muslim culture could work in Denmark, but there would obviously have to be changes. But she doesn't look into it. She doesn't know.
Tomorrow is only woman.
For only women. Okay, well, are those Danish principles right there? That they separate men and women? Or are those Muslim principles? It's like, well, they're Muslim. I don't believe, from my understanding, that this is something that the Danish do. So why didn't she look into that? Why didn't she ask, well, maybe this is something that I should change my views on with being Muslim? Because there should have been real integration, is understanding the principles behind the different cultures. And she should have absolutely cherry-picked the best from both. Said, this is the best of the Danish, this is the best from the Muslims, and I'm going to get rid of the trash, so then I can make things even better than they were before, benefiting both Danish and Muslims. But she didn't do that. And neither did the Danish either. So they're just as equally to blame for all this.
Okay.
We don't have any men here.
Okay.
They'd fled from a.
Don't have any men there. It's like, okay, why? And you know what her answer is going to be? If she has an answer, it's all going to be Muslim related. Well, because that's what the Quran says. So, what are the results? What happens whenever you do this? Do not tell me because of some random text in a book. No, what is the outcome? What is the result of doing this?
Iran after the revolution in 1979. They'd helped a Jewish family.
Yep, the Iran Revolution in 1979. This is Ayatollah Khomeini.
Escape, and the secret police were after them.
If we stay, so I was 100% sure my husband come and hang up.
Why? What were their reasons behind this? Were they good? Were they bad? Why? Why have you not looked into this? Why have you not said, okay, why in Iran is it okay to hang? Why were they going after your husband? Why do they not do this in Denmark?
They would have hang. I'm very sure. The only thing we had was the clothes that we wore. We walked 4 days.
I do not care. This is not relevant. I do not care about your journey. That does not matter. You can be a mass murderer from Iran, and you could have done the same damn journey, and that doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. This is pointless.
To Turkey.
What was your first impression when you got to Denmark?
It was very good, and people was very kind.
Then why didn't you ask why? Why was it so good? Why were these people so kind? Why didn't you make a difference in Denmark culture and customs and those of Iran? So then that way you could help propagate those good things coming from Denmark and keep that bad trash from Iran in Iran.
They want to show us you are in Denmark, you are safe, and you are put up.
Well, looks like they told you some truth, because did you get hanged? Or your husband? Or your daughter? Or anyone else? So they're right. So the problem doesn't seem like it's with them. I would say part of the problem with them, though, is that they did not explain the differences between the two and say, well, this is what you need to leave behind, and here's why. This is what we've done, and this is working out, and here's what. It's not just because, well, you walked over some dirt and you went hundreds of miles and you fled. It's like that. That's not it. That's not it. Taking a journey is not it. It's having a physical journey is not it. It's having the journey in here. It's making yourself more than what you were. This takes effort. This requires knowledge and understanding and reflection, and it's not just walking. That is not it. Everybody walks all the time. Just because you walked this certain path from Iran to Denmark is no different than just me walking across town. It does nothing. It's just like with kids. You can take a kid and you can put a kid in a room. And you can put that little 3-year-old in, and it has a bed and clothes and food and shelter and all that kind of stuff. And they can be completely taken care of. And they will just automatically just grow. They will automatically walk around and do these things, but they will not mature here. This takes effort. That's why you can find adults. You can find people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, or whatever, and they will throw temper tantrums just like a child because they are maturely inept. They are children. Their maturity level is trash. Their communication skills suck. They don't know what they're talking about. They have a bunch of platitudes. That doesn't happen. For you to find somebody who's a true adult, who really knows how to handle themselves, it's because they challenged themselves here. And this is not what this woman did. And it's not like, and the Danish should have helped her out with this. They should have made this clear before bringing her on over and allowing any of them to come. They should have said, hey, yeah, you are welcome, but this is the way that we do things and why. This is something that I do with kids. Whenever a kid is doing something wrong, there are 3 things that I go over. One is, what did you do that was wrong? You think of it kind of like a vocabulary word. 2, why was that wrong? Now it's time to define it. This is what you did that was wrong, and here's why. Because the better that you understand it, hopefully, the less likely you are to do it yourself. And then that way, whenever they're confronted with it again, they have something to fall back on. It's like, oh, I can answer this. And then the last thing, the third thing is, well, what could you have done better? So then that way, whenever it does occur again, which chances are high, if it happened once, yeah, it might happen again. What could you do better? Help them out. How can we make things even better for next time? Not to be perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, but we can make things better. And none of this is going on. None of this.
And we are here and help you.
Well, it looks like they did, because you have this business of this marriage catering thing that you're doing. So sounds like they did exactly what they said. Yes, it wasn't enough. They missed one crucial part, which is all this that I'm talking about, which is explaining the differences between the culture that you left and the culture that you arrived in, and saying that, yeah, these things you absolutely need to stop. These things maybe we can work with, and these things are actually good with Muslims cultures being here. None of that happened. None of that happened.
Do you think that
Why are you asking her what she thinks? I do not care about what some random stranger woman thinks.
Denmark as a society has changed since then?
I guess that question is kind of okay. You know, do you think it's changed? It's like, yeah, okay, I'll go back on that one.
From that time, yeah. They don't gonna accept us in Danish.
Just because you live there doesn't make you Danish. There is a verse in the Bible that I really like, and I have it up on my wall over here. I don't have scriptures up all over the wall. I've known people who have. But this one I do have. And this one is 1 John 3:18. And it says, Let us love not in speech or word, but in truth and action. This really hits hard with me because my dad is trash and my childhood was absolute garbage. And part of it, like we see with politicians and fake news, is that they will say all of these things underneath the sun that it sounds nice and it's really good to hear, but it's still just garbage. You can polish a turd, but it's still a turd. Her words say one thing, but her actions say something else. It's like, oh, well, I'm Danish because I feel like it, because I live here. Okay, well then what Danish things are you now doing? Are you holding weddings for Danish or for Muslims? Well, what have you done? I'm not hearing one single thing that she's done. And do not tell me that she uses their money or she can speak the language. That's nothing. That's something that you have to do to be able to get by. If she's one of the first people who came over there who spoke Muslim, it's like, yes, you're going to have to learn how to speak Danish because everybody who runs all the stores are speaking Danish.
But I feel I'm Danish.
I do not care what you feel like. Oh, holy crap. Tell me, what have you done to become Danish?
How does that make you feel, having lived here for 40 years?
I do not care how you feel.
I feel I'm home.
I don't
My
care.
country. Here is my country.
Yeah, you and everyone else there. But that doesn't mean that you're Danish. That does not mean... I could go move over there too. And that does not make me Danish. It doesn't matter if I've lived there for 4 minutes, 4 years, or 40 years. It means absolutely nothing.
I live in here. But... no, I don't know.
I do not feel sorry for her. If she would come and she would say, oh, well, you know what, I enjoy Danish food, I understand their practices, and she could talk about those things. She could talk about their values, their principles, their history. That would be different. And maybe she does. This little interview's long, and this guy who's talking to her is absolute trash. Because he is the one who's asking these questions about feelings. I do not care about your feelings. I do not care about your words. What are your actions? Because you know what that is? Whenever your actions and your words don't line up, that means that you are a liar. That is the definition of a liar, is whenever you say one thing and then you do something else. But we don't know. She might be amazing for all we know. But we're not hearing it from him or from her.
I don't know. Maybe tomorrow is coming some low. We'll see. You are not going back. We don't know.
Is that really what you think?
Yeah.
It's like if she's willing to integrate, or if she has, then I don't see what the problem is. But the problem is that if you watch the rest of this video, they're not. There are these immigrants coming in, and they're not assimilating at all. And the Danish are not assimilating them either. Neither side is doing anything. They're just both equally to blame. The Danish are not explaining themselves, and the immigrants aren't asking either.
Yes. It's not only me. I know many people.
I didn't know she had an urge to become a Dane. I didn't know.
Oh, her own daughter saying, I didn't know you had an urge to become a Dane. To me, that's saying, well, you haven't been acting like a Danish. You haven't been supporting the Danish. Sounds like, after that comment, that she's been living as a Muslim. Well, why are you shocked that, all right, you left Iran, you left this Muslim place, and now they're here and things are going bad? You're acting surprised that things are getting worse? It's not a shock.
Yeah, she wanted to be a Viking. When do you feel Danish? What is Danish? What feeling do you have when you're Danish?
Great question. Oh my goodness. Or at least better that I've heard so far. In essence, she's asking, what does it mean to be Danish? Why does she not know this? Why can her and her mom not answer that? Where were the Danish to explain this to them? Because, at least that's kind of implying that we're not against it. She's asking, she's like, well, what does it mean? Maybe it's something I would be interested in. Great.
Isn't it just getting along with people? Getting along with your neighbor? Isn't that being just a human being?
Nope, absolutely not. That is not it. That is the outcome of the philosophy behind being Danish, but you don't understand the philosophy behind it. You don't understand those principles, those tenements. You don't get it. Because if it was reversed, and you were asking them about what it means to be Muslim in the Quran, I have a feeling they would have a lot to say about that.
What is it that is so important for us human beings that we feel like we have to claim a country and say, this is my place?
Because that is exactly what separates the Danish from Iran. That's it. Right there. What the hell are you talking about? How can you not even answer that? That's it. Because not everyone wants to live the same. And some of them, it's so drastic that we want completely different ways of running our societies. That's it. Well, that's just dumb.
I define myself as a kid, a gray zone kid. Because people like me are not accepted by the Danes and not accepted by the Muslims or the Persians. So
why have you not made a distinction between the two to say that this is what I want to be, this one or that one? Because there's drastic differences between Iran and Denmark. Huge differences. And you haven't even been able to determine which one that you want to pick? Or that you can't even decide that these are the changes that I need to make to bring the best of both? It's like...
I make fun of all of this.
She's right. You do need to make fun of it because it's ridiculous on both sides. And it's because of all this stuff that they've shown before. Where the crime has gone up. Where this guy here, who's Danish, who has to be surrounded by police so he can go out there and partake in free speech exercises. You may not agree with his free speech exercise, but it's still free speech and he should not be assaulted for it, but he has to have all of these police officers here so he can do it. And that's Danish. But it's not Iranian. And now they're wanting to send these people back. Because where these Muslims live, it's graffiti. And it's violence. And it's just being pissed off and upset about everything. And then what happens whenever the police leave? These immigrants come on up and they start doing this. These Iranians or Persians.
A group of extreme leftists, anti-fascists appear, almost out of nowhere, to let us know we're not welcome.
And you don't have any plans to
Touch the okay, let's
See?
Okay.
Don't film you. It's a public place. Go back to Iran. Go back there if that's what you want. This is why we have countries. And if you want to live that way, go ahead, knock yourself out. But do not come to other people's places where they live and tell them that they have to bow the knee to you. No, now, if it was reversed and Danish were going to Iran, it's like same thing, exact same thing. You don't get to be Danish there. You need to be Iranian. So, yeah, you can take all this trash and you can just go shove it. You know, and here's another one where they have a burqa ban, but she doesn't care. She's wearing one anyways. It's like, fine, you want to wear the burqa? Fine. There are plenty of other places where you can go live and you can geek on out with whatever Muslim teachings that you want to, and that's great. Oh, but you don't want to? You want to live in Denmark where it's safe, but also be a Muslim where at the same time you're attacking the same Denmarks who are protecting you? It makes no sense. It's such hypocrisy. Now, I would say with this girl, she's 20, she's extremely young, and again, it's the same kind of conversation. She cannot explain what it is with Denmark that makes Denmark, at least in some ways, better than Iran. Why not? What is going on with the education system? What is going on with the politicians that they can't do this? Because they don't care. It's all politics, it's all lies, it's all manipulation, and I'm fed up with it. I don't blame this girl. She all she does is just say just a bunch of ridiculous stuff. But how is she supposed to know? She's 20. She's so young. And the majority of what she knows has come from the Danish school system. I blame the school system, and who runs the school system? Same with any other country, the politicians. The politicians do not care about what's right or wrong. The politicians care about getting the votes, and so their first set of lies go to the voters so they can get in office. And then whenever they're in office, then they change their minds with all of this stuff, and they appease to their constituents, the people who donated all these large sums of money so that they could run their campaigns and to just fill their pockets. And then whenever it comes election time again, then it's all this pretty nonsense BS. And then whenever they're in office, it's something else. I've said this before, and I'll say this many other times, is that whenever these politicians, no matter who or where they are, that they should be forced to list the issues that they're running on, and it should be on a website, a government website, and that it cannot be changed by them, that it should be some kind of non-third party, or that screw all that it should be the software system allows it to only be accessed between terms during their election. So whenever somebody gets in, then that's whenever it can be changed and updated, and then whenever you're in, that's it. Even if you completely change your mind legitimately, you don't get to change your policies, because that is not what the people voted for. It is not about the politicians' personal beliefs. It's about doing what the people want. And the people have a hard time doing what's good because they're constantly fed this nonsense, all of these lies. It's just this big circle. You know, politicians and the news outlets are lying about all this stuff. The people believe all of this stuff because what else do they kind of have? And so then that's what they want to vote for, and it just keeps going around. I'm done with it. I'm done with every last bit of it. So if you've understood all of this and you agree, it's like, yes, nobody understands any of this because it's just a bunch of lies. It's a bunch of politicians who are just corrupt to the core. Then give the video a like, give it a thumbs up. Man, I still did 30 minutes on this thing. Subscribe, become a member. I've got Patreon and Subscribe Star, and the sooner I can get all this going, the sooner I can create this website, because I'm calling it all out. I know exactly what to do with this stuff. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we will see you again later. Bye.